The following SNAP survivor outreach and support activity in Fargo, Page, and Hope, North Dakota was challenged by a blizzard and extreme cold temperatures. Challenges which are nothing compared to the lifelong injuries, pain, and suffering of survivors and their loved ones.
Did you? Oh, okay. It might be a while, so if you want to just have a chair.
Sounds good, thank you. We did file this morning here in Cass County District Court another case against Raymond Rose and Shanley in the diocese. This is the third case that we filed in the last, I believe, 6 months related to the same priest. The facts of this case are very similar to the others. Mr. Mel was abused when he was 16 or 17 on a school-sponsored trip with Mr. Rose. They went to Bismarck, North Dakota to view a girls' basketball game, and he was attacked at that time.
Where does Mr. Mel live now? What's his age?
He's 48 years old now, self-employed, not married, no children. He lives here in the community. In Fargo. And so I think we can all appreciate the guts that it takes to associate your name instead of, he could have done this as a John Doe, and he chose to put his name to it. Certainly Mr. Mel is looking to get this issue out into the public, for others to know there are other victims out there. We've talked to other victims, and so that will have to play out through the court system.
Why do you think he was so willing to come forward and say his name and be willing to be identified?
His name surfaced before he ever came forward, and his name surfaced from others who had witnessed him being victimized, who were there in the motel room that night as well, and potentially other times as well. So through the efforts of SNAP and press conferences that were held here in Fargo earlier in the year, he came forward as a result of that.
Is this the second lawsuit filed against Rose now? Or?
It's the third in North Dakota, and then in Minnesota
There's 7 in Minnesota.
7.
How old is this brother Rose, and what's he doing, and where is he at now?
He is currently living in Chicago, as I understand it. He lives across the street from a male school, an all-male school. As we understand it, he's still part of the system, the Christian Brothers system, but we don't know if he's working or if he's retired or what his status is. His current age?
84.
So as of now, we have 10 victims that have come forward. When does it stop?
Your guess is as good as mine. We're talking about a prolific abuser here. And unlike a lot of abusers who would groom victims for years and years, he tended to get people isolated away from their families, take them on school trips, give them alcohol, and abuse them.
Do you think that there are people who could be victimized, even today by this man?
I can't imagine someone can turn that on and off. And we know that he abused over decades while he was here in the Midwest. So I think it's safe to assume that the concern is there.
Complaint notes that Mr. Mel didn't become aware of the effects of the alleged abuse until December 2009. What's that connected to? Did he see somebody or a therapist at that point, or what is that alleged or referred to?
It refers to the fact that he did not know that the church was aware of the abuse by Brother Rose involving other boys until quite recently. And he learned that through some press conferences on some of the other cases. So he had been under the impression, as many boys were, that they were the only ones. And so when he learned that the diocese knew and had not taken any action, that's when it really hit home for him.
Specifically, what they knew about clergy sex abuse and cover-ups with law enforcement, and so children will be protected. current and former church and school employees to share what they know about clergy sex abuse and cover-ups with, or they're going to share it with law enforcement. I don't know, maybe it's just the way it's phrased.
What that is saying is that North Dakota law says, Mr. Institution, Mr. Bishop, if you know somebody within your flock is abusing children, report to law enforcement. The Diocese of Fargo, the officials of Shanley School, did not do that. That's what that refers to.
So you think you have reason to believe that they knew what was going on at the time?
Officials. Okay, number one, 12, 13 years before Raymond Rose was even dropped on the families and children of Fargo, the Christian brothers knew he was raping boys. They didn't stop. The school he was at before they dropped him here, he raped kids. Raymond Rose was in this town 6 months, and a family went to the school and said, this is what he did. 3.5 years later, he's still here raping. They knew. They knew.
So he was in the community for 4 years.
4 years. The man could possibly be the most prolific serial sex offender to ever cross the highway in Fargo. And they never stopped him. And that's the other sad part about the fact that he's sitting there in Chicago, never being held accountable for the multiple crimes of child rape that he's
What do
done.
you think it is now, 84 years old, living in Chicago, he still has yet to be in jail?
I wish those that have reports did connect the dots and work together and find logical reason to prosecute. Now, North Dakota law says if you rape our children and you flee or you leave before this time frame is up, you can still get criminally prosecuted. The law enforcement's got to connect the dots. You've got law enforcement in Wisconsin. Raymond Rose abused in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, a school called Shelley. Same type of situation. Their criminal law says you rape our children and you flee. The statute of limitations stops totally. Connect the dots. If the survivor community can connect dots across the continent, law enforcement can connect the dots and get that man off the street. Somebody asked me a question about his age. Would you let your granddaughter be babysit? Your son or your daughter be babysat by that man? Would you let him feed your kids, give them a bath, and tuck them in bed? Click on pause to read. These are the bishop's words. They are written at least 4 times in the Fargo Diocese sexual abuse policy. Yet this bishop has never stood in the church, parish, or community of Zeeland, Ashley, Page, and Hope, North Dakota, to address the sexual abuse by Gregory Pacheco. Nor has he stood publicly and talked about her horrendous crimes of Raymond Rose. That is why SNAP went to North Dakota. When you get to the newspaper article, hit pause to read. For more information about Raymond Rose and Gregory Pacheco, go to Bishop Accountability and read their complete history and assignment record. If you or a loved one has been harmed by clergy sexual abuse, contact SNAP. We will help you.